Here's the entire process of us cleaning up our back patio from start to finish. This is what it looked like when we bought the house. It was covered with leaves, mud, and debris, and I wasn't even sure how big of a patio it was. As always, we're partnered with craftsmen because we take pride in all the work that we do. I also love to listen to music while I work, so I grabbed my job site radio and turned up the volume. I used my fiberglass shovels and rakes to start because I wanted to remove as much dirt and debris as I could. Because there was so much soil on the patio, I actually tried to reuse as much of it as I could and put it in the surrounding beds where the soil was lacking. This is all part of our 5K flip where we're transforming a house as efficiently as possible, and so reusing soil and creating our own mulch is one way that we're doing that. After removing that main portion of soil, I wanted to trim up the trees and bushes around the patio. I've used this trimmer, which has a pole saw attachment, for many of the projects where I'm getting branches that are up high. I started by trimming and thinning out the crepe myrtle and then getting some of the branches that were hanging down around the yard. One thing I really like about this Craftsman line of tools is that it's all run by one 20-volt battery, so I can just move it from my blower to my trimmer to my drill or the various other tools that they use with it. It was already looking a ton better, but I wanted the edges to be much more sharp, so I grabbed my edger tool and cleaned up the edges. If you've watched any of our videos before, you know I love pressure washing and the difference that it makes, so I grabbed my 2400 PSI pressure washer and got to work. In my opinion, it's one of the most satisfying jobs you can do, and it makes a huge difference. You have to be really detailed, and it definitely adds a little bit of time to the job, but it is well worth it in the end when you see the concrete all cleaned up and nice. While I was cleaning up the wall, I realized they include an abrasive tip, which is actually way better for this kind of stuff because it rotates, and I'll be using that next time for sure. This is where I did something backwards, but after I'd finished spraying, I realized the gutters were full, and if it rained hard, it was just going to pour back all over the patio, so I needed to clean out the gutters and then re-clean off some of the porch. So once that was done, it was time to mulch. To be efficient and cost-effective, I used the pine needles and the dead mimosa leaves from the trees in the front yard. I completely surrounded the patio with it, and it made a nice touch and contrast from the soil and dead leaves and weeds that were there before. This small section right here was pooling with water before, so I filled it with soil and slanted it away from the house because you never want water setting on your house. In total, this project only took a handful of hours, but it made a huge difference on what the backyard now looks like. Thanks for watching, and I hope you're inspired to go take on your own projects.